Hey book friends and potential book enemies. Let's talk about books. Specifically, let's talk about books that I did not read this year. I have had a tough reading year. I set my reading goal at 52 every year, knowing I will exceed it. And as we come into the middle of December, I am on 51. It's not been a reading year for me. Obviously, everybody's mileage varies. For me, that's a really low reading year. And a lot of it has been rereads, a lot of it has been cozy mysteries. I've just needed comfort food and I've DNF'd a lot of books. So let's talk about the books I didn't read. I have started tracking a little bit DNFs in Storygraph, but not all of them. Some I can tell that I didn't read because I downloaded the Kindle sample and didn't even make it through the... That's a bushfire alert on my phone. I can tell that I didn't read the sample, but the sample is still there in my Kindle history. I can tell you that I did not read a single book that I borrowed from the library, so I can go through my library history and read that. And also there's a couple of physical books here as well that have been looking at me, and so I may as well just tell you about them and then I can put them back on the shelf. Let's do the physical ones first because they're literally right here looking at me. There's no order, it's just books. The first one is Witch King by Martha Wells. This one disappointed me because I have the physical copy. I also have a Kindle copy because, well, an ebook version because I got it in a humble bundle. And I think I read the first chapter and not further because it just was given YA and no thanks. I have been told to persevere on this one because it's definitely not YA. It does have more adult themes. And it sounds cool in theory, like the guy, POV character at the start, is dead and wakes up in a new body. That sounds cool. I just don't think I have the patience to give this book the grace it needs to establish the setting. Fantasy always is harder work because you have to establish the characters and the setting and draw people in. And I've been a lifelong fantasy reader. I get that. I just was bored and I didn't care. So I stopped reading. Company of Liars. This is Karen Maitland. This, I liked the cover, so I bought it. The byline here is a novel of the plague. So we're talking historical fiction. 1348, it says on the back. So historical medieval fiction could go either way with me, and it was perfectly cromulent and I just didn't care. So I put it back down again. I need to give it another go. Olga Tokarczuk, House of Day, House of Night. This English translation was published in September this year and I pre-ordered this and I was so excited. And I've read a little bit and I should have read the trigger warnings. I'm not a reading the trigger warnings person, but the place where I had to put it down was a chapter dealing with alcoholism and the fallout of that and the implications of that, and the dog died. No. I don't know if I can come back to that because even though House of Day, House of Night is short stories, all, intertwined short stories, when I read the trigger warning and it had that and other things that I don't want to be reading about, I think I've put that one down for good. Which is sad because I love Olga Tokarczuk, as you guys know if you spent any time here. Alright, let's go through the Kindle samples and see what's in here. So there's Last Heir to Blackwood Library. I bought this cheap in a deal and I was iffy about it anyway. It's a book that I definitely have to be in the mood for, but we start out with our protagonist. She's inherited a large property to the north, but the caveat is she has to go live there. Boring. Perdido Street Station. This is by China Miéville. I grabbed this one because I accidentally bought the third in this series in physical format, so I thought better read the first one first. It's fine, it's good, it's China Miéville. One of the main characters is a bug. Like there's a whole race that are like insectoid humanoids, and I didn't want to put in the effort to imagine that and make that part of my reading experience. So I put it back down again. However, I was enjoying it and I did end up buying it, and so it's on my TBR. The Devils, this is one that I actually borrowed from the library, but I also have the Kindle sample, and that's because I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the first chapter, but when I borrowed it from the library, I was about to head away for a week. I didn't want to take a physical book with me, so it went back to the library. But it did sound good, and so I probably will read it. It'll probably come up in a daily deal and I'll buy it then. The Woolf and the Watchman. This is Niklas Natt. It is translated from, I think, Swedish. I'm not going to check that, and I'm probably not right. It's a Scandi historical murder mystery. And it was great. It was fine. I read the sample and I bought the book in a daily deal and I didn't pick it back up because I just... The Book That Wouldn't Burn, this I bought because it was cheap. My book club was reading it and I thought I'll give that a go. Starts out with a child being abducted from her home. No, I don't want to read about children. Thanks anyway. All right, over to the library. I've got to tell you, my library website is so useless in the mobile version. Let me put it desktop side. Oh, it's logged me out. Oh, the text is tiny. All right, this year I borrowed and returned The City in Glass by Miéville. Miéville writes very lyrically and beautifully, and it's definitely, you have to be in the mood to penetrate the story around, like, that's hidden inside the beautiful words, and I didn't want to. I borrowed The 5-Second Rule and The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins because I love productivity books. I love how to life books, and I see a lot of Mel Robbins about, hadn't read any books. Turns out they're self-published, and that is all I'm going to say about that. I borrowed The River Has Roots by Amal El-Mohtar, and I didn't read it because I didn't care. I can't even remember. I mean, obviously I didn't care. I can't even remember what about it just sparked that meh reaction in me. But I went back to the library. Then I was looking for something else, and I saw in the library catalogue that they had Unmasking Autism and Unmasking for Life by Devon. Now, curatorially yours, Kelly, read one of those and really enjoyed it, found it quite useful. Because I have somebody close to me with autism, I thought, give it a go. I hated them. Now, I read the introduction for both, and I found Unmasking for Life to be more relevant to me. But a lot of it was, let's do the work, unpacking your feels, and I am in no place to give a shit about doing the work and unpacking the feels. So they went back to the library, and I probably won't get them again. I'm not a do the work kind of person. I'm a bitch about books on the internet kind of person. So that's the library. Finally, what else have I recorded in Storygraph that wasn't from any of those places? Let's look at my Storygraph DNFs. To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. This was a buddy read with Kelly, and I read a couple of pages, and I'm in no mood for modernism. Cannot be dealing with that, so it went back on the shelf. The Star Diaries by Stanisław Lem. Is that up here on my... No, it's over there somewhere. I read about half of this, and I got bored. They're very silly. It's science fiction written in the 50s, and it's of its time, and it's perfectly cromulent, and you can see that it's inspired things like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Terry Pratchett, and it was just too silly, and I was done. Dungeon Crawler Carl, that was a book club book pick. Everybody loves Dungeon Crawler Carl. Ash has eaten them up like delicious yogurt over the years. Ash is my husband, by the way. And I don't care. I don't care one bit. It's not for me. Are we sensing a theme? Actually, there's one on there that I didn't read out, and that was Poirot. I downloaded Lord Edgware Dies, which I think is number 10 of Poirot, and I've read a lot of Poirot this year and enjoyed it, and this, for the most part. And this one starts out with a young actress who is married to Lord Edgware, and she doesn't want to be anymore, so she calls Poirot and says, "Can you make me unmarried to him?" And Poirot says, "I cannot kill him." And she says, "You'll work it out." And I didn't care. So I didn't read that. I do have in front of me piles and piles of books where I did care and I did finish, and we will talk about them one day. But that is the books that I just did not give any shits about this year, and I probably, for the most part, will not go back to. Please tell me what you DNF this year, because I just need to have a bitch. I think that's what it is. I just need to have a glass of wine and a bitch about books.